Good evening. On this holy Saturday evening, before the sun goes down, although it's kind of cloudy outside, as we're sitting here tonight, I'm just sitting here under this blanket. It's a little colder. There, you can tell the winds are changing. Something else is blowing in tonight. And so I got my blanket on, and I've got my friend, although now he's walking away from me, Toast. He's here with me. We've just been kind of hanging out and thinking about this fireside chat and thinking about all of you. And I was contemplating the thoughts about what the people who were with Jesus were doing this Saturday night after he died. You know, it's interesting to think about that because there were lots of reactions, I'm sure, for some of the people who had been following Jesus. Everything they knew, everything they had expected, the normality of life that they thought was there, suddenly was gone, just within a day. Thursday, everything was going on just like normal. There was a meal, there was a Passover, and then suddenly everything's gone. Life has changed. The normality of things was out of place. And then you start thinking and looking at the text and you begin to wonder, so what did the people do? I mean, some people had a variety of feelings. I'm sure some people were probably saddened. Some people were in fear. Some people were very much struggling with things. Some people probably were living life just as if nothing new had happened. But one thing is interesting when you go back and you look at the text, it kind of reminds us what the people did. Jesus was crucified on Friday afternoon, and the text tells us that one way or another, through Joseph of Arimathea or others, that Jesus' body came down from the cross, and he was laid in a tomb. And whether it's in the text of John where his body was somewhat prepared, or others where they just laid him there and they had to go and get moving because it was the day of preparation. And what that reminds us is that in the midst of the craziness and the change of the world that had suddenly happened to them, in the midst of all the feelings and the struggles and all the pieces that were going on, what the people did do was the one thing that didn't change. They worshiped. It doesn't clearly say that. It doesn't say that out loud. But what it does say is that they had to get home and prepare because it was the night of Sabbath, Friday night. It was the time of worship for them. So on that Saturday night, even though people were doing all kinds of things and relating to this whole Jesus time, they worshiped. It was the one constant. It was the one thing that kept the people constant. It's the one thing that held the people up and buoyed them up and strengthened them, was that despite the fact that this one they had been walking with and talking with and learning from and hoping in, Jesus, that the one main thing that stayed the same was worshiping God. God had not changed. There were a lot of questions, there were a lot of wrestlings, there was no question about that. There was wonder about how could this have happened and where is it going to lead everybody else, and all of the hopes and the dreams that might have been rightly or wrongly pinned on Jesus at this time because people didn't have him completely figured out. But the truth is that what was really going on was the people went back to the thing that was there. Worship. They went home to their homes. They did their preparation. They lit the candles. They sang their hymns. And they lived in a time of Sabbath worship. Life has changed drastically for people as well here recently. A lot of people have a lot of different feelings. People wonder and fear and are distressed, and people are just going on as if nothing ever happened here. There's a whole lot of things that are going on and through people's minds. And the one question is, what will be the same? Is there something that's the same, that really will hold the people together? Is there something that really is there that is a true rock to hold on to, something that will keep them together and well. You know, the Easter hymns I was looking through, and one of them is strikes me as "Thine is the glory, Thine is the glory, risen and conquering Son," and the constancy of that song as well reminds me of the fact that, you see, we already know something that the people didn't know when Jesus died. We know the end of the story. And so it's kind of a spoiler, and yet it isn't. It's also something that gives us an opportunity to do something that other people are missing tonight. Yeah, thine is the glory, risen and conquering Son. Endless is your victory. You or death have won. You know, as I was doing something today and people were coming and picking up some things, I had one person say to me, "You know, Pastor, I have never spent so much time thinking about Easter before. Always been too busy, always had too much stuff going on, always had other stuff happening. But this year it's been really good. It's been really a good thing." It really is the question of how we face what's going on here today. In this time, in the days ahead. It really is. You see, I happen to believe that I'm a person who believes in resurrection because I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe that all of life lives in a resurrection and resurrected way, that nothing is an end. It always has the possibility of what is the newness that God is bringing to us. What is the possibility? What is the hope? We are people who know that there is an answer, whether it be tonight or it be at the end of the ages. We know there's an answer, and it is Jesus Christ. And that then should reflect in how we do our life and the things we do in our life. It'll be interesting as I'm thinking of Tozer and the sermon for tomorrow and pieces of that last chapter that we'll look at. It's the constancy of the fact that there is a difference to the church, and there should be a very clear difference to the church, and people who call themselves the church, that it should clearly stand out for us compared to the rest of the world. What it means to be resurrected side of the cross people, to be followers of the now ever living Lord. These days are challenging. These days create differences. These days create hardships, and these days create stressors, and these days create lots and lots of things. But ultimately, if Jesus Christ is in it, the question is, what is he trying to show you in the midst of the storm, in the midst of your boredom, in the midst of your lack of running to all the things that really don't have that much of a value for eternity, to teach you about what it means to follow him, so that when life comes back to a normality or whatever it will be, we face it all differently with him in the middle of it. Lots of thoughts running through my head. I wish I could go on forever, but I can't. Because tonight is Holy Saturday night. And it's time to send out information for worship tomorrow. Time to prepare. Time to think. Time to be quiet and let God speak. Just as an FYI, there's been issues and challenges, I know, with emails and things. I think there's been so many emails coming out from my spot that sometimes Google or whatever takes the approach that I'm spamming. So if you have people and you're having conversations with somebody that says, "Hey, I'm not getting my emails anymore," I invite you to tell them first thing, "Have you looked in your spam box?" Because I've already had a couple of people who found that my emails now are going there because it just has reckoned it to be that way. You go in there and you click that, yes, you want that information from me, and you'll be able to get it and see it and do it. But check your spam. Jesus doesn't send spam. Neither does Pastor Matt. Don't have enough time to think up spam in the first place. But just as a reminder for those of you who are talking, and if somebody says, "Yeah, I'm having trouble," remember, Have you checked your spam box as well? You know, that's another reflection all to itself, isn't it? That when life seems to be crazy and life seems to be lost, Jesus always checks the spam box so he can find us and bring us back to be on the inbox. You see, everything goes back to theology when you spend time doing it. Kind of cool. I hope you have a blessed night. I hope you stay safe. I look forward to, for lack of a better term, being seen by you tomorrow, since I won't see you, but I do long to greet and hold and gather with you. I look forward to those days. I know they're coming, just like I know the sun rises too, and the Son of Man. So, happy Easter Eve as you prepare. God bless you. Bye-bye.